What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be sorting out the rest of the engine bay. As you guys may have seen in the last video, we got the engine and gearbox and front end back on the GTI and it's looking really good. And tomorrow we will be starting this thing back up again. So we got some work to do today. We have to get the intake sorted out, the battery tray, and pretty much every fluid, including the gearbox oil as well. So we got some vacuum lines and a bunch of other stuff. So without wasting any more time, let's get to work. Okay, so before we can go ahead and get the intake sorted out, we got to get this battery tray all bolted up. It's just a few 10mm screws, so we're going to chuck those in and tighten them up. There we go. All right, now one of the things I missed out on doing the other day when we threw the engine back in is the engine mount spacer in the back. There's sort of like an alignment sort of bolt that goes in the back of this engine mount right here. And because we have engine spacers on it, you can't really see on that side, but you can definitely see the engine spacer here. So because we have that much of an engine space there, we got quite a big gap on the back mount. I don't know if you can really see, but there's like a little mounting tab down there. So we need to throw this little spacer in and then that bolt can go through and bottom out. Put the engine spacer in there. Alrighty, that's that done. Okay, so actually before we go ahead and put our intake back on, I think I'm going to hook up this ICM delete. Now, because we have 4-pin connectors on our coil packs, and to make them work with this rocker cover, we got to change our harness from a 3-pin to a 4-pin. So for now at least, I'm just going to use these plug and play sort of adapters, and I just plug this in and then it's a 4-pin on the other end and it'll work with these coil packs. But because these are now 4-pin, we can actually delete our ICM, which is just another thing to go wrong. So we'll delete that and that's it. So we'll just tuck that, you know, over here for now. We're going to go ahead now and chuck on our intake. Good enough for now. All right, so I decided we got to get the car back onto the ground. So I'm going to chuck the wheels back on as well, get this thing on its feet again, and then we can chuck some fluids in. So. Finally, back on the ground. Alrighty, so it is the next day, and before we've gone ahead and even thrown any fluids in this thing and get it started, we've already sprung ourselves a coolant leak. Our thermostat just underneath it is leaking, so I'm just going to take that off. I believe maybe I pinched the O-ring. So yeah, we'll get that out and have a look and then throw some fluids in this thing and hopefully get it started. Okay, so we're just going to set this aside. We're going to leak all our coolant out apparently. Alrighty, so getting it back on, I'm hoping that it was just a pinch seal, or I'm putting back a broken flange and I have to take it back off again, but we'll see how it goes. Power steering fluid. No way, we're already full. There we go. Alright, just tighten it up and then that's done. Okay, so we have all the fluids inside the car. We've got our power steering, engine oil, gearbox oil, and coolant. Hopefully it doesn't leak anymore. But we've got one more thing we need to do, which is converting the factory harness from a 3-pin to a 4-pin so we can actually work with our new coil packs. So we'll just plug and play with this, and later down the track, I'll hardwire this into the harness so it doesn't look so messy. Okay, so we've just pulled out our fuel pump fuse. That way we can prime this thing a few times to get oil pressure up and get oil fed through the filter, the turbo and everything. And then once we know everything is all good and it isn't leaking, then we'll go ahead and start this thing up. Alrighty, well, the engine definitely cranks. I don't see any obvious leaks, so we'll go ahead, throw the fuse back in and start this thing up. Okay, fuel pump fuse back in. Definitely have a misfire. Well, we have cylinder 3 and 4 misfiring, so I don't know if it's either an issue with this but we'll go ahead and swap out the spark plugs first and then we'll go from there, I guess. Cylinder number 3. It's a bit oily.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll chuck this one out and then we'll throw a new spark plug in, and then, but the end looks pretty clean. Number 4, we'll see how this goes.
I'm like, please start, please.
Bit dirty again, so I'm not too sure. Alrighty, so we've just replaced out the spark plugs in number 3 and number 4, and we've also swapped around the wires for the conversion thing, so I think we might be good now. Well, she runs, but she is a bit noisy on the top end, as you guys can hear. So we're gonna take some time and let this thing warm up and let oil get to the top of the head. If it doesn't stop after maybe like 5 or so minutes or so, then we might just shut it off and have a look at what's going on. Tone seems really good, no exhaust. No smoke coming from the exhaust, so I think it's pretty good. Any lights on the dash? We got an ABS and a handbrake light, so maybe just a sensor or something like that. But yeah. I don't know what all those noises are, but I think now that we've got it up to temp, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the old oil out. I did just put whatever oil I could find, just cheap oil that I could just run through it to get it sort of broken in and flush out whatever, you know, crud was maybe in there. And then, yeah, would put some nice, good oil in there. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the old oil out now. Nice and clean. Looks pretty good. Now, seeing as that oil looked pretty good, I think I'm gonna leave the oil filter on. It's not even had any kilometers on it, and that oil looked pretty clean, so I think we're alright to reuse it. Okay, oil cap back on, and we're gonna just check our dipstick. Just wipe it off. Looks pretty spot on, so we're gonna go ahead, start this thing up, and see if the idle sounds a bit better. Okay, I just missed it, but our fans just kicked in. That means this thing is actually getting up to temp. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but this thing is quite loud. But, you know, it runs, it starts soon, maybe driving. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and start this thing up tomorrow again as well and see if it gets any better. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alrighty guys, welcome back to day 2. We're gonna go ahead and start the GTI back up again, and I'm really hoping it decides to quieten down. Now I do have some proof prior to buying the motor that it did run perfectly fine with no issues, but after pulling this thing apart and, you know, probably dropping all the oil out, it's just a little bit dry. So I'm just hoping after starting it up again today, it'll quieten up, so fingers crossed. Still a bit noisy at the moment, but we'll let it keep running and see if it quietens down. I don't know if it's just me, but this thing sounds a lot louder than maybe what my S3 sounded, so let's maybe start this thing up and compare it to this. You guys tell me what you guys think. Also, if you guys didn't know, this is actually my girlfriend's Mark III, and we'll be actually getting this thing up and running quite soon after we sort this GTI out. So if you want some Mark III content, let me know down below. Coolant is getting warm. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out of it, but it's definitely getting warmer. I'm just hoping the fans turn back on and then we're good to shut this thing off. Fans are kicked in. Car is now up to temp. Seems fine, idle's fine. I just feel like it ticks a bunch, but it's pretty similar to the S3, so I think that might be a win. I don't know. I think this might be a win. The car runs, so in the next video we'll be getting it driving, and hopefully we can take it for its first drive in over like 4 years now. So yeah, it's very, very warm in here if you guys can't tell by all the sweat on my face. But yeah, very, very excited. This thing runs. Hopefully driving, we can get it into gears. I'll have to sort out the shifter. It just isn't getting into the gears quite properly yet, and it isn't really springing back as much as I'd like it to. So, you know, we'll sort that out in the next video. And yeah, you guys let me know what you guys think. Do you think this thing is running all right? Do you think it maybe is a bit too noisy? You let me know down in the comments down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.